The quantum arrays hummed beneath the lunar surface, their crystalline matrices pulsing with ethereal light. Dr. Marcus Wung stood before the massive observation window, his weathered face reflected against the backdrop of Earth hanging like a jewel in the void. 20 years of research had led to this moment, humanity's first quantum communication array capable of reaching beyond their solar system. Signal integrity at 98%, Doctor, announced Dr. Olivia Jackson, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. The quantum entanglement is holding steady. Marcus nodded, unable to suppress a smile. After decades of searching for extraterrestrial intelligence, they were about to broadcast humanity's presence to the cosmos. The message was simple, a series of mathematical sequences proving their intelligence, followed by an invitation for peaceful contact. Nobody expected an answer within minutes. The facility's alarms blared as unknown energy signatures appeared at the edge of lunar orbit. The vessel that materialized was unlike anything human engineers had conceived, a massive structure of flowing liquid metal and pulsing energy fields, easily the size of a small city. Multiple objects detected, called out Lieutenant James Akanjo from his security station. Energy readings are off the charts. His dark fingers tightened around the defense system controls, but Marcus raised a hand. Hold your fire. If they wanted to attack, they would have done so already. The alien vessel's response came through their quantum array, translating itself into perfect English, a feat that should have been impossible. Greetings, children of Earth. We are the Kraxan, and we have watched your development with great interest. Within hours, the Kraxan representatives were meeting with Earth's leadership in a hastily prepared lunar conference facility. Their physical forms were breathtaking, tall, graceful beings with iridescent skin that shifted colors with their emotions. Their ambassador, who called himself Nexus, spoke of galactic civilizations, advanced technologies, and opportunities for humanity to join a greater community. Your quantum communication breakthrough proves you are ready, Nexus announced, his skin shimmering with patterns of gold and blue. We offer mentorship, knowledge, and protection. But Marcus saw something in their eyes, a coldness that belied their warm words. As Earth's government celebrated and negotiated cultural exchange programs, he began digging deeper into the quantum communications data. Hidden beneath the Kraxan's transmissions were encrypted data packets. Working in secret with a small team including quantum computing specialist Dr. Rashida Patel, Marcus discovered fragments of messages in unknown alien languages, desperate warnings from other civilizations. The encryption is unlike anything I've seen, Rashida whispered one night in their secure lab, her face illuminated by streams of alien code. But these patterns, they're consistent with distress signals. Their suspicions were confirmed when Marcus's old colleague, Dr. Zhang Wei, discovered ancient ruins on Mars that had been carefully hidden. The artifacts told a story of a civilization that fled from luminous destroyers who came bearing gifts of knowledge. As humanity eagerly embraced Kraxan technology and their representatives began establishing bases on Earth, Marcus and his growing circle of confidants worked to quietly prepare humanity's defenses. They couldn't reveal their discoveries without proof. The Kraxan's influence already reached too deeply into Earth's power structures. We need to build our own safeguards into their technology, Marcus told his team, studying the schematics of a Kraxan quantum drive. They think we're primitive, that's our advantage. They won't expect us to understand their systems well enough to modify them. But time was running out. More Kraxan ships arrived each week, always bearing gifts, always insisting on building their bases in strategically crucial locations. Their mentorship began to feel like subtle domination, their protection like the first steps of conquest. In his private quarters, Marcus stared at the encrypted message he'd finally decoded, a warning from a species called the Nexaria. They come with honey in their words and poison in their hearts. They build their cage around you piece by piece until the day you realize you're no longer free. By then, it's too late. The quantum array pulsed beneath the lunar surface, now hosting both human and Kraxan communications. But woven into its crystalline matrix were elements the Kraxan never detected: humanity's first steps toward independence, hidden in plain sight. The coming storm would test humanity like never before, but they would not face it unprepared. Marcus sent one final encrypted message through the quantum network to resistance cells already forming throughout Earth's colonies. The stars hold both wonders and warnings. Prepare yourselves. The game is not what it seems. Captain Diana Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the EDF Hyperion, watching the quantum gate's swirling vortex collapse behind them. Her ship was officially on a routine patrol of Earth's outer colonies, but her true mission was far more critical. Stealth systems holding steady, reported Lieutenant Kai Nakamura from his tactical station. No Kraxan signatures detected in this sector. Diana nodded, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic display showing their position near the Proxima Centauri colony. 3 months had passed since Dr. Wang's warning about the Kraxan's true nature, and the evidence was becoming harder to ignore. New data packet from Resistance Cell Beta, announced Communications Officer Priya Kapoor, her fingers moving swiftly across her console. They've documented another accidental collapse of a human mining operation. Kraxan safety inspectors arrived within hours to take control. Just like the others, Diana muttered. The pattern was becoming clear: strategic human operations experiencing mysterious failures, quickly replaced by Kraxan facilities. Their mentorship was slowly strangling humanity's independent industrial capacity. The Hyperion's mission was to contact the scattered human colonies and resistance cells, sharing information while avoiding the Kraxan's increasingly watchful eyes. The ship itself was a testament to human ingenuity. Its quantum drive contained Kraxan technology, but Chief Engineer Thomas O'Neill had modified it extensively. "Captain, you need to see this," called Dr. Rashida Patel from her research station. The quantum computing specialist had joined the Hyperion's crew after helping Dr. Wang decode the first warning messages. "I've detected unusual transmissions from the colony's surface." Diana joined her at the station, studying the encrypted data streams. More Kraxan communications. "No," Rashida's eyes widened. "It's different, similar to those ancient warnings but active, live." After careful analysis, they discovered the truth: hidden beneath the colony's main settlement was a secret facility containing members of another alien species. The Alderans, as they called themselves, were supposed to be extinct, one of the Kraxan's cautionary tales about civilizations that tragically destroyed themselves through their own aggression. Diana led a covert team to the surface, using the cover of a routine supply delivery. They found the hidden entrance exactly where the transmissions originated. Inside, they discovered dozens of Alderin's tall, crystalline beings who had once ruled a thriving civilization before the Kraxan arrived. "They came to us as they came to you," explained Kelnar, an Alderan elder whose crystalline form pulsed with soft blue light. "With promises of knowledge and protection, we were proud, advanced, but not advanced enough." They had spent millennia perfecting their strategy. The Alderans shared their historical records, revealing the Kraxan's true nature. They were not merely conquerors but parasites of a sort. Their bases were actually massive organic computers, slowly interconnecting into a neural network that would eventually allow them to control all Kraxan technology on Earth, including the modifications humans had made to their own systems. "Once the network is complete," Kelnar warned, "they will activate their true weapons. Our people's technology, our very bodies, turned against us. Those who survived fled underground, hidden by our remaining quantum shielding technology." Diana transmitted the evidence back to Earth through secure channels, but the situation was worse than they feared. The Kraxan had already placed their neural nodes in every major city, every spaceport, every power facility. Humanity had less than 3 months before the network would be complete. "We need to strike first," Diana told her crew, studying the Alderan data. "But we need to be smart about it. The Kraxan have conquered countless civilizations, but they've never faced one that knew their plans in advance." Using the Alderan's quantum shielding techniques, the Hyperion began a dangerous mission to contact other hidden survivor populations. They found Nexare refugees in the asteroid belt, Zarakai resistance fighters on Mars, and more. Each species had faced the Kraxan alone, and each had failed. Maybe that's been the problem, Diana realized during a strategy session with her senior staff. Every species fought them separately, but now we know the truth, and we have something they never expected: a united front of species who understand their tactics. As the Hyperion raced back to Earth, carrying plans and technologies from multiple civilizations, Diana knew they were about to change the rules of a game the Kraxan had been playing for millennia. But first, they had to convince Earth's leaders to take action before it was too late. "Send word to all resistance cells," she ordered. "Operation Stormbreaker begins in 72 hours. She stared at the image of Earth growing larger on their view screen, knowing that the next few days would determine not just humanity's fate, but the future of every species the Kraxan had tried to enslave. The storm was coming, but this time the prey knew the hunter's every move. Dr. Jamal Hassan watched the holographic display as thousands of tiny dots representing Kraxan neural nodes pulsed across Earth's surface. From his hidden command center beneath the Sahara Desert, he coordinated humanity's first major offensive against their would-be conquerors. Quantum shield generators in position, reported Colonel Michel Chen through the secure quantum encrypted channel. All resistance cells standing by. The plan was audacious. Using modified versions of the Alderan quantum shielding technology, they would isolate and neutralize the Kraxan's neural network section by section. But timing was critical. They had to strike simultaneously worldwide before the Kraxan realized what was happening. Status of Operation Blackout, Jamal asked, his fingers dancing across the holographic controls as he fine-tuned the final calculations. All teams in position, Michel confirmed. The Kraxans still think their network is 3 weeks from completion. They don't know we've identified every node. The discovery had come from an unexpected source, the Zarakai survivors. Their species had specialized in organic computing before the Kraxan destroyed their civilization. They recognized patterns in the neural nodes that even the Kraxan didn't fully understand. Begin Phase 1, Jamal ordered. Across the globe, hidden quantum generators activated. Invisible fields of energy surrounded key Kraxan facilities, cutting them off from their network. The aliens' reaction was immediate and violent. Multiple Kraxan warships emerging from quantum space, warned Lieutenant David Foster from his sensor station. Energy weapons charging. But humanity wasn't fighting alone anymore. As Kraxan vessels appeared, they found themselves engaged by ships of impossible design crystalline Alderan cruisers that had hidden in deep space for centuries, waiting for this moment. In orbit above North America, Captain Rodriguez and the Hyperion led a fleet of hybrid vessels, human ships enhanced with technology from multiple species. They engaged the Kraxans' supposedly invincible dreadnoughts with weapons the parasitic conquerors had never encountered. They're adapting to the quantum shields, Jamal noted, watching the tactical display, just as we expected. Initiate Phase 2. This was where human ingenuity came into play. While the Kraxan focused on breaking through the quantum shields, resistance teams moved in with weapons based on a completely different principle: sonic disruption technology developed by the Nexaria. The neural nodes weren't just computers, they were partially organic, and like all organic matter, they could be shattered by the right frequencies. Node clusters 7 through 15 are down, Michel reported. Their control over regional power grids is failing. The Kraxans' response was predictable. They triggered their failsafe protocols, attempting to turn humanity's modified technology against them. But Dr. Wang's foresight had prepared for this. Every piece of adapted Kraxan tech contained hidden programming that activated at this exact moment, turning the failsafe protocols back against their creators. In New Delhi, resistance fighter Arun Patel led a team into a massive Kraxan cultural center that served as a major neural hub. They encountered fierce resistance from Kraxan security forces, but the aliens were fighting blind, cut off from their network. Remember, Arun told his team as they planted sonic disruptors, they've never had to fight without their technology. They don't know how. The Kraxans' warrior pride had become their weakness. Millennia of technological superiority had left them dependent on their neural network. Without it, their coordination crumbled. But victory came at a cost. The Kraxan, realizing their network was failing, resorted to desperate measures. They triggered their ship's quantum cores to overload, creating devastating explosions that leveled several major cities. They're becoming unstable, Jamal observed grimly. Exactly as the Alderan records predicted. Initiate Phase 3. This was the riskiest part of the plan. Using coordinates provided by the surviving species, human quantum ships began targeting specific points in space, the locations of hidden Kraxan production facilities and supply lines that had supported their empire for millennia. Sir, Michel's voice was tense, we're detecting massive energy buildups in the remaining Kraxan ships. They're preparing something big. Jamal studied the readings and allowed himself a small smile. No, Colonel, they're preparing to retreat. Their neural network is failing across the galaxy as other species follow our example. The Empire is collapsing. The Kraxans' final gambit was as brutal as it was futile. Their flagship, a massive vessel that dwarfed everything else in orbit, attempted to quantum jump directly into Earth's atmosphere, a suicide attack that would have devastated the planet. But Captain Rodriguez and the Hyperion were ready. Using principles of quantum entanglement discovered by Dr. Wang's team, they created a localized field that forced the Kraxin vessel to materialize in deep space instead. All remaining neural nodes are down, Michelle reported as the last Kraxin ships fled into quantum space. We're receiving reports from resistance cells worldwide. The network is dead. Jamal leaned back in his chair, exhausted but satisfied. Humanity had done what no other species had managed. They had broken the Kraxin's hold before it could fully take root. But he knew this was just the beginning. Send word to all cells, he ordered. Phase 4 begins immediately. We need to help liberate other worlds before the Kraxin can regroup. The war wasn't over, but something fundamental had changed. The Kraxin's aura of invincibility was shattered, and for the first time in millennia, the galaxy's enslaved species dared to hope. General Yuki Tanaka stood in the heart of Project Phoenix, a massive underground facility carved into the bedrock of Mount Fuji. Holographic displays filled the chamber with ethereal light, showing the positions of Kraxin forces regrouping across the galaxy. The quantum calculations are ready, announced Dr. Viktor Petrov, his weathered hands moving across the experimental interface. The quantum physicist had spent the last 3 months integrating human AI systems with recovered Kraxin technology and the knowledge shared by their alien allies. Project Phoenix represented humanity's greatest technological achievement, a hybrid combat system that combined human intuition, artificial intelligence, and quantum computing in ways the Kraxin had never imagined possible. Status report from the front lines, Yuki asked, her eyes fixed on the tactical display showing battles raging across multiple star systems. Captain Rodriguez and the Hyperion fleet have liberated 3 more Alderaan worlds, reported Major Benjamin Clark from his communications station. The Kraxin are falling back to their core territories, but they're leaving behind automated defense systems. The Kraxin's retreat had been costly but calculated. They had sacrificed their outer territories to consolidate their forces, preparing for a massive counterattack. But this time, humanity was ready. Initiate Phoenix Protocol, Yuki ordered. Across the chamber, quantum processors hummed to life as the AI cores began their work. Project Phoenix wasn't just a weapon, it was a new way of fighting wars. Dr. Petrov had discovered that human consciousness, when properly interfaced with quantum systems, could achieve things pure AI couldn't. While the Kraxin relied on cold logic and overwhelming force, Phoenix combined human creativity with computational power. Neural links active, announced Dr. Rebecca Patel, the project's chief medical officer. Combat pilots are successfully interfacing with their quantum fighters. In orbit around liberated worlds, a new kind of vessel appeared. The Phoenix-class quantum fighters were smaller than traditional ships but infinitely more dangerous. Each was piloted by a human consciousness working in perfect harmony with an AI system, able to predict and counter Kraxin tactics before they happened. Multiple Kraxin assault fleets detected, Benjamin reported. They're launching their counterattack. The Kraxin had modified their tactics, attempting to counter the strategies that had worked against them on Earth. Their ships now operated independently of the neural network, and they had developed new weapons specifically designed to penetrate quantum shields. But Project Phoenix had anticipated this. As Kraxin warships emerged from quantum space, they found themselves facing an enemy that seemed to read their minds. The human-AI hybrid pilots moved their ships in ways that should have been impossible, striking at vulnerabilities the Kraxin didn't even know they had. Phoenix Squadron engage at will, Yuki commanded. Show them what humanity can do. The battle that followed would be studied for generations. Phoenix fighters danced through space like liquid lightning, their quantum weapons striking with surgical precision. When the Kraxin adapted their shields, the human pilots immediately developed new attack patterns that their AIs refined and distributed across the fleet. They're targeting our quantum processors, Dr. Petrov warned as a massive Kraxin dreadnought broke through the defensive line. They've realized the threat of our hybrid systems. But this, too, had been anticipated, as the Kraxin focused their attacks on what they thought was humanity's technological center. Phoenix revealed its true nature. The quantum processors weren't just computers, they were nodes in a vast network of human consciousness, each pilot contributing to a shared awareness that grew stronger with every engagement. All squadrons execute Maneuver Omega, Yuki ordered. The Phoenix fighters moved as one, creating a complex quantum field that trapped the Kraxan fleet in a maze of intersecting spacetime distortions. The Kraxan's mighty dreadnoughts found themselves outmaneuvered by an enemy they couldn't predict. Their automated systems, designed to counter logical attacks, failed against the seemingly chaotic but precisely calculated movements of the Phoenix pilots. Multiple Kraxan vessels attempting emergency quantum jumps, Benjamin reported. Their fleet cohesion is breaking down. This was the moment Yuki had waited for, launch Operation Sunburst. Across the battlefield, quantum bombs developed using Alderan crystals and Nexare plasma technology detonated in precise sequences. Each explosion created a cascade of quantum disruptions that disabled Kraxan systems without harming their organic components. Kraxan fleet is in full retreat, Benjamin announced as the last dreadnought disappeared into quantum space. We're receiving surrender signals from their ground forces on 3 worlds. But Yuki knew this victory, while significant, was just another step. The Kraxan would adapt again, would find new ways to fight. But now humanity had proved something crucial. They could not only resist the Kraxan but defeat them decisively. Send word to all allied species, she ordered. Project Phoenix is ready to enter its next phase. It's time to take the fight to their home territories. As the quantum displays showed Kraxan forces retreating across the sector, Yuki allowed herself a moment of reflection. Humanity had not only survived first contact with a hostile alien species, they had evolved, adapted, and emerged stronger. The Kraxan had picked a fight with the wrong species indeed. All Phoenix pilots prepare for quantum jump, she commanded. The real war is just beginning. Ambassador Wei Chen stood before the gathered representatives of 27 alien species in the crystalline dome of New Harmony Station. The massive space station, built through the combined efforts of multiple civilizations, orbited a neutral star at the galaxy's crossroads. For millennia, the Kraxan divided us, Wei addressed the assembly, his voice carrying across the chamber. They convinced each species that they were alone, that resistance was futile. Today, we prove them wrong. Behind him, holographic displays showed the combined fleet gathering at strategic points throughout the galaxy. Phoenix fighters flew alongside Alderan crystal ships and Nexare plasma vessels. Each species contributed their unique strengths to the alliance. Multiple Kraxan battle groups detected approaching their homeland, reported Captain Rodriguez from the Hyperion, now flagship of the Allied fleet. They're abandoning their remaining outposts to protect their core systems. The Kraxan had never faced a threat like this. Their entire strategy of conquest had relied on isolating and overwhelming single species. Now they faced a united front of civilizations, each bringing centuries of bitter experience fighting their common oppressor. All fleets commence Operation Daybreak, Wei commanded. This wasn't just a military operation. It was the culmination of careful diplomatic work, bringing together species that had once been rivals or enemies under Kraxan rule. The battle began across multiple fronts simultaneously. Phoenix squadrons led the charge, their human-AI hybrid pilots creating chaos in Kraxan formations. Alderan ships followed, their crystal tech disrupting Kraxan quantum communications. Nexare vessels struck from hidden quantum pockets, their advanced stealth systems allowing them to appear and disappear at will. In the New Harmony Command Center, Dr. Wang and his team coordinated with scientists from every allied species. Their adaptive algorithms are failing, he reported, watching the Kraxan ships struggle to counter attacks from multiple technological paradigms simultaneously. The Kraxan's fatal flaw was finally exposed. Their belief in their own superiority had left them unable to truly understand or adapt to other species' ways of thinking. Each time they countered one type of attack, they left themselves vulnerable to others. They're falling back to their homeworld, Captain Rodriguez reported. But something's wrong, energy readings are off the charts. The Kraxan's final gambit was both desperate and predictable. On their homeworld, they activated a doomsday weapon, a device capable of triggering quantum collapse across multiple star systems. They would rather destroy everything than accept defeat. But humanity had learned from its allies. The Alderans had faced similar weapons. The Nexare understood the quantum principles involved. The Zarakai knew the weaknesses of organic computing systems. And humans knew how to put it all together. Project Phoenix Final Protocol Way ordered. Across the battlefield, Phoenix fighters linked their quantum fields, creating a vast network of human consciousness and artificial intelligence. Alderan crystals resonated in precise frequencies, their energy channeled through Nexare plasma conduits. The combined power of multiple civilizations focused on a single point in space-time. The Kraxin weapon faltered, caught in a quantum feedback loop of unprecedented complexity. Their homeworld's defensive systems, designed to counter any single type of attack, couldn't adapt to the combined technologies of dozens of species working in harmony. All ships execute final approach, Captain Rodriguez commanded. The Allied fleet moved as one, each vessel playing its part in a symphony of different technologies and tactics. The Kraxin leadership, faced with inevitable defeat, made their final transmission. You cannot comprehend the forces you are unleashing. Without our guidance, the galaxy will fall into chaos. Wei's response was simple: the galaxy doesn't need a master, it needs allies. The battle's outcome was decisive. The Kraxin's doomsday weapon was neutralized, their fleets disabled by weapons they couldn't counter, their homeworld surrounded by the combined might of species they had once enslaved. In the aftermath, as liberation forces moved throughout Kraxin space freeing countless enslaved populations, Wei gathered the Alliance representatives again. Today marks a new era, he announced. But our work is just beginning. The galaxy needs a new way forward, not an empire, but a federation of equals. Each species contributing its strengths, respecting its neighbors, and working together to face whatever challenges await us in the cosmos. The Treaty of New Harmony was signed that day, establishing the Galactic Federation of Free Worlds. The Kraxin would be contained, their technology studied, their people offered a chance to rejoin galactic society as equals rather than conquerors. As the celebrations began across liberated worlds, Dr. Wang stood with Captain Rodriguez on the Hyperion's observation deck, watching the combined fleet against the backdrop of stars. They thought we were primitive, Rodriguez mused, that we'd be easy to dominate like all the others. Wang smiled, watching Phoenix fighters patrol alongside ships of designs humans had never imagined just a few years ago. Instead, we showed them something they'd forgotten: the greatest strength isn't in domination, but in bringing people together. The stars stretched out before them, no longer a realm of threats and conquerors, but a frontier of endless possibilities. Humanity had not only survived its trial by fire, it had helped forge a new future for countless civilizations. The age of the Kraxin was over. The age of cooperation had begun.